Yeah. Okay. Three more super chats. Jammy Sislo, $20. The fact that the followers of Scientology thought getting a 501c3 status is a miracle, they're dumber than I realized. The IRS hands them out like candy to avoid 1A lawsuits. And he also says for another $20, to quote Tool from the song Enema, Frank L. R. Hubbard and frick all his clones. So
what's the
is that
question?
basically a fuck your song to Ron? Fuck L. Ron
Hubbard.
Yeah, I think he's saying fuck L.
Well, that's a statement. That's not.
We're getting some more super chats in, so as we speak. Two more here. AC Castillo. Thanks, non sequitur. What is the solution for people who are targeted by Scientology? Legal action, self-defense. What about the person's family? Because, of course, as you said, they have that shunning. They have that disconnect of family members who leave the church. You're a pariah. You're a repressive, subversive, whatever the hell they want to use for terminology. How do you suggest for people to handle that when they want to get out of Scientology?
Okay, well, look, first of all, I would not get involved in a lawsuit with Scientology unless you have endless amounts of money. Because the church probably has, and this is per, I think, Jeffrey Augustine, about $3.5 billion. And they got hot and cold running attorneys. They'll put 20 attorneys in a courtroom with you. And there's no way you're going to keep up with this. The guy didn't come out and speak on a podcast and talk out against them, expose them for what they are. Listen, you know how to handle mildew? Put the light of sunlight on it. It'll kill it. And what I'm doing is what I think a lot of people have decided to do, and that is expose them to the sunlight of truth. Because I'm not making this shit up as I go along. What I'm telling you actually did happen, and it's the way they operate. And I hope many more people would do what I do. And I'll tell you this, I welcome people who want to have, if they have a story to tell, go to my website. It says Contract Ron. You can get in touch with me. I'll hear what you have to say. And if it's good and I think it's worthwhile exposing, you can come on and do a show with me.
Sunlight is a very effective disinfectant, isn't it?
See, you got one more, I believe, right?
Yeah, one last one. The Fubiachi assassin. He asked, "Does David actually believe the Lord? Do you think that David actually believes his own bullshit?" Basically.
No, that's two questions. You say, does he believe the Lord? There's no.
No, the lore. The lore. L-O-R-E.
L-O-R-E.
Folklore.
Okay, this is a personal, and I reserve the right to be wrong.
Sure.
I think Dave knows that he has a problem here delivering what was promised many years ago. And what he's doing things like he's making people go to the bottom of the so-called bridge and work their way up again to buy him time. And I think he's trying to figure out a way where he could produce some technology that he can deliver this exterior with full perception. So that's what I think is happening. Did he believe it to begin with? Yes, he did. He was a very good auditor. And the basic things, we're talking about basic stuff. We're not talking about superhuman stuff that nobody's achieved in, as long as I was in Scientology. So I think that's what he's doing. I think he's trying to buy time and keep the whales, people who give big donations, interested enough to keep on giving big donations and see if he can work out some way to make it work. In other words, he's on the Titanic. They have all the bilge pumps going, and he has a bit of a problem.
Well, Ron, I want to personally thank you for taking the time to come on here. We would love to have you back anytime that you want. And guys, make sure that you check out therealronmiscavige.com. That's therealronmiscavige.com, not just Ron Miscavige. And go and buy the book as well. His story is fascinating.
Buy his book. Buy Ruthless.
Absolutely.
I cannot.
Links are in the video description.
It's a great read. It's an easy read, and it's very interesting.
Yeah, and the book was written to be easy to read. I purposely did not use a whole lot of big words because I've seen authors try to, they want to be, I'm a great writer, I'm going to use these big fucking words, and you lose people, all right? So,
well, I'll be honest, it really feels like you're sitting there telling, like when I'm reading it, it feels like you're sitting there telling me the story of your life. And it's very enjoyable.
Then I'm going to tell you something, okay? You know how, and we can end the show on this. And don't forget, I'm going to send you a bill. It's $1.43 for this, cash only.
It's in the mail already. It's in the mail already.
Tax deductible.
Here's what I did. I knew I was going to write a book. I sat down. My fingers could not keep up with my thoughts. So I bought this voice to text. And that's almost a complete waste of time because you're correcting about 75% of the words. Okay. So then what I did is this. I have a friend who was in a C organization, Dan Kuhn. And I called Dan, who had been bugging me to write a book. I says, Dan, you want me to write this book? He says, yeah. I said, okay, I'll tell you what. You come over. He's living in Sweden. As a matter of fact, he's still living in Sweden. He came over, and I had blocked out all the things I wanted to say. We sat down at this table that I'm sitting on talking to you. And 6 days later, I had dictated the whole book.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That never happens.
That's awesome.
And that's why it sounds like I'm talking to you, because I told a story. I didn't write it. I told a story.
Yeah.
That makes sense now.
Well, you can
That's
tell.
the best way, though.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but that was it. Really does come off that way. It really comes off like you're telling us your story, and it's really awesome.
Yep.
Heartbreaking, but awesome.
Well, there you go.
Ron, to close out, give us your words of advice, words to live by. How do I make it to be 82 and still getting out there and playing music 6 days a week and working out?
Well, okay.
Is it bacon? Please tell me it's bacon.
Okay, I'm going to tell you.
Oh, yeah, bacon. Please. I'll live forever.
This is the way to do it. First of all, give good advice. As an example, if you have a friend who stutters, tell him he can get a job in a local high school teaching broken English. That's one thing. So that's good advice you can pass on, all right?
Excellent.
I'm serious and you're laughing, okay? You got to exercise. Listen, I started working out when I was a kid. Actually, it really got drilled into me in the Marine Corps. And it's the thing I've done over the last, I guess, since I'm about 13 years old, but mostly when I was 17 on. So 17 from 82, what is that? 75, 65. I've worked out for 65 years straight. And the best form of exercise, I'll tell you, is what I call isometrics, but there's a way to do it. And I have a friend, and this friend of mine, his name is John Peterson. If you read my book, you'll see he's the one that told me about a book called The Master Key System. He's a fitness guru, but he's also a studier of philosophy. And Kathy, right? You have the book. If you go to the last part, you will see books that I recommend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, John Peterson recommended that book. But John Peterson, on that name, he's coming out with a course, which I would recommend because it's based on isometrics, but it's a special way to do it. But even if you don't get that, just go on the internet and find out how to do isometrics. And do isometrics every day. They're not hard to do. Well, let's put it this way. They're as intense or as mild as you make them. You do? Okay. Then you know what I'm talking about.
I'm a big fan of isometrics, actually. Mm-hmm.
There you go. Well, okay, John has this thing called isometric belts. And you can use it like a power rack with dumbbells or barbells, but it's in itself, you can do squats, you can do overhead presses, you can do bench press, everything, but isometrically. And that's what I do. And I've done isometrics. Mind you, there was times I'd go away from it and try other things. I always come back to it. So I could say at least 90% of the time I've used solely isometrics. As a matter of fact, today, I'm getting over a cold, by the way. I don't know if you noticed my voice. But today I was, okay enough. I pulled out the belt, knocked off a workout, went and did a gig, and I came back, and here I am talking to you. And I'll tell you this, it'll keep your energy going, and you're not worried about getting fat or anything. And I was going to say something about not getting fat, but it'd be politically incorrect. I'm not going to say it, all right? And I'm noted for saying no.
Oh, go ahead.
The fucking church will
Listen,
we'll put it on. Here's what Ron Miscavige said. No.
Oh, like we give a shit what the church thinks, to be honest with you.
Fair enough.
I know, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what.
They could fuck right off.
Yeah, do you want to help yourself keep a good weight? Take a couple tablespoons of raw vinegar in water.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, it's really great.
Apple cider, apple cider vinegar, right? Apple cider
I
vinegar.
I use the Dr.
I have it
unfiltered. Yeah. And I take a couple tables, like maybe one in the morning, one in the afternoon. And it keeps the pH balance of your body and the alkaline side, which is good for your health. Man, I sound like a fucking health store distributor now, okay? But I'm telling you,
this show's taking a
great.
turn.
I mean, that was
great. I agree.
That's all great and important advice. Absolutely. So you're a man of many hats, my friend. A man of many hats.
And then the other thing is this. I would like to end off with this story because there's a lot of wisdom involved in this. And that is this. In my hometown, there was a park in the center of town, and there was a brass cannon in the center of that park. And there was a guy that all he did for 40 years was polish the brass cannon. So when he retired, his family and his friends bought him a brass cannon so he could go in business for himself. Now that's something to ponder, okay?
That's deep. That is deep right there.
That's deep.
Well,
that's deep.
Guys, the book is called Ruthless.
The book is Ruthless. Get the book.
The book is Ruthless. You can get it on Amazon. The link is in the description. And make sure that you check out therealronmiscavige.com and check out his interviews. I believe he's got a big one, he said, coming up soon.
Oh, two big ones in the next 2 weeks. And in the week following that, I have Karen De La Courier coming on with a special presentation that it's never been told on any interview ever. And she was in Scientology for a lot of years. She was what's called a Class 12 auditor. And she knows all the inside skinny. I got some good stuff coming up. But even if you just and listen to the interview with the private detectives, it's an interesting interview. Do you want another philosophical conundrum? One more philosophical conundrum, and then we can end, all right?
By all means.
Now think about this. Do you know what an ant is, right?
I do.
Like, okay, a little biz ant, I guess they're called.
Mm-hmm.
Think about this. Think about this, and you can think about this before you go to sleep at night. It'll keep you up half the night. If your father had a brother, you would have an uncle who was an ant.
Oh, man.
Good night.
He got us.
Oh.
See you later.
He got us. Thanks, guys, for joining us. Ron, this was absolutely a pleasure. It really was. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, my pleasure, too. And I enjoyed talking to you guys. You're a nice bunch.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And, guys, we'll see you tomorrow back here at the same time, same place, 8 o'clock. Casey.
Bye, y'all.
Good to see you again.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Yes. I'll be back next week on Ideology.
Tuesday.
Non sequitur. Your facts are uncoordinated.